Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of the Puncher's Chance podcast. I'm Brendan Bradford from Sporting News, joined by Adam Copland in Brisbane. I'm in Sydney, in lockdown in Sydney. Adam, you're up in Brisbane, mate. How you going?
Yeah, we're all free, mate. We're all sunny days, no lockdown. Don't want to rub it in too much, but good time to be a Queenslander as always.
Mate, you guys haven't even had a lockdown, have you? Like, not a serious one.
Not a serious one. We've had a few 3 days, but everyone gets pretty stoked with them because everyone just goes home, gets on the piss, and then goes back to work Monday.
100%. But, well, that means you're allowed to go to the fights this weekend. We've got Liam Paro and Steve Gago at Eatons Hill, Brisbane, this Saturday night. It's going to be on Epicenter for people like me, stuck in lockdown, unable to go. But, man, a good card, like probably not getting as much attention as it probably deserves.
Yeah, Angelo Ace Boxing, they always put on pretty evenly matched cards. Like none of them you look at the card and you think, oh, all the fights are going this way, all the fights are going one way. Like maybe they got a slight edge one way, but like I'm just looking at the fights now, they're very evenly matched and I'm excited. Can't wait to watch them.
It was the same with their Townsville card a couple of weeks ago. Mark Bam Bam Flanagan on that one. A lot of very evenly matched fights. You didn't know which way they were going to go. And then Sonny Bill pops up on the undercard and no one knew.
100%.
They kept that under wraps pretty well. But, what are you looking at in this Liam Paro, Steve Gago fight that's headlining this card this Saturday?
Headlining, if we start with Paro, Liam, he's developed like Angelo and Alfie have developed him perfectly. Like I watched him come through the end of his amateurs. He moved down to Brisbane from, I think it was Townsville at that stage. And then I watched him develop at the start of his pros. He's ranked, I just had a look here, he's ranked number 2 by the WBO and 3 by the IBF. And IBF doesn't rank number 1. So he's 2 by the IBF 2 and 23 on BoxRec. So he's right there. He's ready for a world title fight. Southpaw, he's got all that stuff going for him. And then Gago, he's a bit of an unknown. He's had a few fights, but he's a bit unknown. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I have to admit that I don't know too much about Steve Gago, 12-1 record, but certainly like you say, Liam Paro's been brought along really well. He's to me he's sort of one of those what do you call it? Not underrated, but just he's not getting a huge amount of attention or shine at the moment, even though he should. Like there's people within boxing definitely know who he is and definitely is singing his praises, but it feels like he's almost about to break through into sort of a more broader recognition. And hopefully that comes over the next couple of months. I guess last year, I think he fought once in 2020, but it was pretty tough for boxers all over the country.
And I think he had a few injuries last year. I'm not 100%, but I think he hurt his hand or something like that. So he had a bit of an inactive year, but didn't seem to hurt it. Like he's still a full-time fighter. You never see him really get overweight. You never really see anything. He's always training, always running. So he's, it doesn't hurt him too. If you're active but you're not fighting, it doesn't hurt you as much as when you get fat sort of thing. And that doesn't seem to suit him. I saw that Steve Gago, he fought on the Richie Sue undercard against that Kazakh, and man, Gago, he showed some toughness. Right. Yeah, he was he's actually a southpaw too. So like, it's like you imagine Liam's too sharp for him, but also you don't really know. He's unknown. He's had 2 wins overseas, both in China, once against an undefeated guy. So you don't really know. Like I imagine Liam's too sharp for him, but I reckon it's a good match. It's a good cracking fight.
I remember the Kazakh, I think his main corner man wore like a hat, like a pelt hat with a tail. And he was just I couldn't concentrate on the fight because this bloke was standing there.
Yeah.
It can't have been his corner man, like it must have been his manager or something, because he just stood like this.
Yeah.
Fight. It was wild.
And then the other one that fought Rocky Jerkic kind of walked in when one and like did a bit of a dance. It was pretty weird. The whole thing was pretty weird.
That was a good fight night actually. But like you say, I think Liam Paro will take this one. Admittedly, don't know too much about Steve, but from what you see with Liam, is he in Brisbane now? I know he's from North Queensland originally, but
Liam lives in Brisbane. He's trained by Alfie DiCarlo, so I think he's around that Brisbane sort of city area, around that Coorparoo area. Where he's coming from WA. That's a long flight. That's Liam's on his home turf. He's got all his fans, and Steve's could come from WA. Like, he's had 2 wins overseas, so it's not foreign to him to travel. But he's got his hands full. He's got his hands full, that's for sure.
How far off, like you mentioned Liam's rankings with a couple of the sanctioning bodies, how far off do you think is he potentially, like, making a run at a title or something?
I think, me personally, it's hard because Josh Taylor's wrapped up all the belts now. Like, he's got all 4 belts, and like, the perfect thing for Liam is if Josh Taylor vacates, goes up, and he leaves 2 of those belts, Liam's got a chance of grabbing one. He can fight for a vacant belt, and the guys above him and one below him, especially in the IBF, because they don't have the number 1, so it's usually number 2 and 3 fight for the vacant belt. So it depends on what Josh Taylor does. So if he's going to hold on to these belts and try and get a fight with Tank Davis or something like that, it's going to be hard for Liam to get a shot. But we'll see. We'll see what Josh Taylor does. You never know. Liam might get a shot against Josh Taylor or something like that. That'd be interesting.
That's the sort of the double-edged sword, because when Josh Taylor won, it finally, like, just a one champ, one champion.
Yeah,
everyone loves it. But then you're looking at these guys coming up, and it's like, what are we like? For the guys coming up, it's better if there's 4 different champs.
100%. And like, for Liam to make his name overseas, to have his first fight or his first world title fight against a unified champion in Josh Taylor, that's a hard task.
Yeah.
Like, you never know, he might be up to it, but it's a hard task. It's better off if he gets like the vacant belt, and then he gets a few world title fights, and then fight someone like a Josh Taylor. It's just had, like, even Josh Taylor, he's developed to that level. Same thing that Liam's is probably about to do.
While we're on the subject of unification bouts, what did you make of Charlo Castano on the weekend?
Yeah, that was interesting. It was weird. I found it really weird because Charlo's pretty aggressive usually. He's aggressive, and he likes to, once he's got someone hurt, he just doesn't stop until he finishes them. Same as his brother. They do the same. They're just like, they got that instinct. But a few times he had that Castano hurt, and then he'd like just sit back, and I don't know. I think because he got wobbled early, maybe he was, aware of Castano's power. But I watched a few of the pre-fight things. Charlo seemed a little bit, I don't know, he had a new kid, and he was a little bit, he's usually talks real hungry, he's real aggressive, he just wants to go out and kill him, and he was like weird things, like he was talking about his kid, and he was upset with his brother, and I was thinking, like, is he losing that edge that he had? Was that it? I don't know. It could be reading too much into it, but I thought the whole thing was weird. I thought Castano won the fight, just personally.
Yeah, I thought, because I scored it for Castano pretty closely. I think I gave like maybe 2 or 3 rounds edge, but like you said, I don't know whether it was just because, like, in their lead up to that fight, I was, whenever I jumped on YouTube, I was getting fed like Jamel Charlo's like YouTube like videos, but it was all like cars, houses, houses, like all this other stuff. Hardly any boxing. So, like you said, maybe he's maybe he's
hard, man.
Yeah,
they've got it. Man, I can't imagine having all that money and then pick it up and then do the road work. That'd be hard work. Especially he's saying, like, he goes to his house and then it's like, first thing he talks about is how he built this fish tank so he can relax and look at it and stuff when he gets home. I'm like, it's just weird. Like, the whole thing's just weird. But
the that All Access cracked me up because it opened, like you said, it opened him talking about his fish tank and what the fish mean to him, and they help him relax. And then 10 minutes later, he's like, I got a 10-day-old baby. Bro, lead with that.
Yeah. That's the goal. What are you talking about? The fish tank comes first. The goldfish. Got Finding Nemo. And he's talking about that first. Oh, it's funny. That's right. Yeah, I don't know.
Where do you reckon where does that leave Tim? They're talking about, No Limit, talking about trying to go for the WBO, trying to go for Castano. Is this a good result for him, or are we going to get a rematch?
It's hard because it might delay the fight that he was going to get because they're going to have a rematch now. But if they don't have a rematch, probably leaves Tim in a better position to get Castano, because if he got all 4 belts just then on that fight, man, there's everybody gets a chance at him. You know what I mean? All sanctioning bodies, they're fighting for a chance at him. But if they don't have that rematch, Tim probably gets a shot. You know, it could work out all right.
Yeah,
especially if you bring him to Australia. It's a good fight for Tim.
You could see, well, I don't know all the details, but I'd imagine it'd be a lot easier and cheaper to get Castano out to Australia than Charlo. Yeah,
and the hard thing is, like me and you speaking about it, we don't know those top promoters. They could be playing something over there. You know what I mean? Like this is all speculation from us, but they could probably have a 5-fight plan already. You know what I mean? It's hard.
Yeah, classic boxing,
yeah.
eh?
Yeah.
But back to Brisbane, back to Eatons Hill Hotel this Saturday. Floyd Masson on this card as well. He's taking on Joseph Liga. I know you trained with Floyd a bit.
I fought Floyd in the amateurs. I fought him. I actually looked up the date for this because I tried to find it in my blue book. We fought in 2013 in Newman, Western Australia, which is like some mining town. And Floyd beat me 17-20 on the old point system.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
They go way back to the amateurs.
Yeah, we go way back. He's probably one of the nicest guys in boxing. I don't think I've met a nicer guy than Floyd. Top guy. And a really good fighter too. Like, he's got this southpaw style southpaws are already awkward, but he's got like a extra awkwardness. He likes to put his hands down. Like, he just likes to put him down, move his head, throw off weird angles. He's originally from New Zealand, and then he went, I think he was in Western Australia had a good coach over there too. I forget his name, Sean Nash, I think it is. He's had a few, like, experience everywhere, and now he's with Frankie Pianto in Brisbane. He's got like so he's just got like all these different sort of assets for himself. Very strong, southpaw, slick. Like, he's a hard task.
He's from a place called Te Awamutu, which is where my mum's family is from and grew up. So Floyd's brother Cohen used to play rugby union in Sydney. So when I first started freelancing in Sydney, I used to interview his brother. I used to interview Cohen after rugby matches, and now, like, I've never met Floyd, but it'd be cool to come back. Like, it's probably about 8 years later.
We know the Masons from way back, eh?
Know the whole family. But what were you doing over in Mining Town, WA, having fights?
Oh, just getting absolutely stitched up, fighting heavyweights. So how it worked was Floyd and this other dude, Tyson Wally, they were like two of the top guys from New Zealand now, both living in WA at the time. So we had two of our top guys, the Australian and runner-up at the Australian champions, Dylan Hardy and Roger Grant. So they were going to go fight those two. They were going to do like an international kind of match. Those two boys couldn't make it. So I was the 81 kilo youth Australian champion.
Yeah.
So then they gave me the call, and I was like, oh, yeah. Doesn't sound too bad. So we took a 5-hour flight. Me and my mate Simon Cooper, he stepped in for the other ones. He fought Tyson Wally. So we took a 5-hour flight from Brisbane to Perth, a 2-hour flight from Perth to this place called Newman. And man, it was like just red dirt, a few tin sheds. We got put in this house. Like, it was an experience, that's for sure. Yeah.
I love hearing all these stories about all you guys back in the amateurs. Like, you talk about, guys in similar weight classes or whatever, and then like, oh yeah, we fought like 5 times.
100%.
I love all those. Yeah.
And it's good because you are in the amateurs. It's like you can build like your experience, and you build all these things, but you also build like your life experience because you go to weird places like Newman and you fight some big dude named Floyd Mason, and then, you know what I mean, like, you remember that forever. Like, every time we see now, we give each other a hug, we talk. Like, he's a good dude. So like, it's a cool thing about the amateurs like that.
Where else? What other interesting places around the world did you travel to and fight?
So I went to Floyd's hometown, not hometown, his own country, New Zealand. I actually went there 5 times all up for boxing. 4 would have cornered Jeff on Joseph Parker undercards. So I went there more as a cornerman. I went there as a boxer, fought there, went there on the same trip, but we had 2 fights in a row. I went to England, fought some good guys in England. Wales, I fought this dude in Wales and he gave me the biggest hiding I've ever had. I had 50-something fights. I never got stopped in the amateurs, but this one, I was like a pretty raw novice and I was youth. I had 12 fights. I remember looking at the records and they had like a little pre like, I don't know what you call it, like the brochure thing that has the records, who's fighting who. Yeah. So they had looked at the records and mine was like, at the time I was like 10-2. And then I remember looking at this dude, it was like 52-8. And I was just like, oh shit, this is a stitch up. And this dude was just, I didn't really know what to do. I was just coming forward and he was just rolling right hands on my head. I was like, dunk, dunk, dunk. And just, it was a bit of a punch on, but it was a good experience as well. Poland, fought in Poland, fought 3 fights there. That was a fun trip. Liam Wilson was on that one, Nathan Weber, a few other good Taylor Robinson, she was on that one. Yeah, so that was pretty lethal trip too. I think that's it.
Nice.
Fought around, a few trips around Australia and stuff, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, not bad. So do you know anything about Joseph Liga or Lingard?
Yeah.
Who Floyd's fighting? 6-1.
He's a tough dude, man. I've seen him spar a lot. I've seen him fight probably like a fair few times now. I saw him. He's got 2 losses there, but his last one, he fought Luke Medini. He's a big dude at cruiser, and he got stopped on a cut from a punch. Like it was counted as TKO, and I think it was the 2nd or 3rd round. So it's like he didn't get stopped there. The other one, his other loss, he was actually going really good, and he fought this dude, and then the other dude just rolled an overhand right on his chin, and he just got wobbled, and the ref jumped in and stopped it. Like he's got no lack of heart, no lack of toughness. He's fought a super middleweight, and now he's jumped up to cruiser. So he's not probably hasn't got the stature that Floyd's got, but he's got definitely plenty of ticker.
And if you're doing predictions, I take it you're backing Floyd in that one?
Yeah, I think Floyd, he's just on a roll. Like he beat Lance Bryant, stopped him in a couple of rounds. That's just not an easy task. Beat Christian Zoy, the guy that Justice Winnie fought before Gallen, beat him pretty comfortable. Like he's a pretty special dude, Floyd. So it's hard to imagine Joe getting this one over him.
It's an interesting one for a cruiserweight division as well in Australia, because we know Jai Opetaia is light years ahead of everyone, but there's a whole lot of fights there that potentially could be made if depending on which way things go. Like where do you reckon Floyd is in that sort of hierarchy or ranking, I suppose?
He's got to be number 2 or 3, you'd think. Like unless I'm kind of forgetting someone. Like you've got Jai, you've got Jason Waitley, you've got Floyd. Like there's other guys coming up like Luke Medini. Who else am I feeling? If Bam Bam makes a comeback, he's obviously up there. But Floyd's ranked number 36 on BoxRec, which after 9 fights, that's up there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he's actually going fast. In a few fights, he might be up around that Jai sort of area if he can get a few regional titles. I don't know. It's just, this one might be for Australasian or something like that, but I think it is.
Vacant Australian. Vacant ANBF Australasian cruiser. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, if you get this one, get a few more regionals. Man, it's hard to see him and Waitley might have to see who's number 2, and then whoever gets number 2. You know what I mean? Like it's COVID times. We're not going to be able to fly in these big European dudes. These dudes are going to have to sort it out, I guess. Yeah,
I mean everyone's been saying it the last couple of months. Like the best thing about COVID for Australian boxing is that guys have to fight now down here.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen some cracking fights.
Oh, for sure. And this could be next.
Yeah. The other fight on BoxRec on this card, we know there's a few more as well, but Tyson Bess and Adrian Rodriguez. What are you making in this one? Yeah.
Man, this one, like, I've seen them both fight a fair bit. Like, just if you look at the eye test, this is just like 2 bulls meet in the middle and one's got to go kind of thing. If you know what I mean? Like, I know Tyson Bess doesn't have the biggest knockout record, but he is strong and he can punch. Same as Rodriguez. Like, they're both strong. They're both physical. It's hard to imagine them both dancing around each other here. You know what I mean? Like, they're just going to go at it. Like, that's it. I don't know. They both got similar records, I think, 13-2, 13-3 or something like that. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you thinking?
Yeah, like you say, I can't see them yet, sort of tippy-tapping around and pitter-pattering.
Yeah.
It seems like they're going to actually, meet and throw down. They both seem like kind of, I've never met them personally, but seeing like videos and things and stuff on their social medias, they both seem like really like laid back, cool guys. But then when you step through the ropes, they're just fucking animals.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
those are they always come to fight, those kind of guys. Like, you can talk a big game out of it, and
you're
doesn't
right.
always
Yeah.
back up. But
I agree.
it's a good stylistic matchup.
Great stylistic matchup. Yeah, me too. I can't pick this one. Honestly, it's hard because I haven't seen a lot of Adrian Rodriguez. I saw him early in his career, and Tyson Bess, he's coming off a few hard losses. Like, he got beat by Benny Kite a few fights ago, and then a few fights before that, he got knocked out pretty bad against a good Korean. Adrian Rodriguez, he had a few hard fights and had a few losses recently as well. But like, they're both really come to fight. So it's going to be who's there mentally the most. You know what I mean? Like, who wants this bad enough? Who's suffering more from the losses? Because losses can take away a bit of that confidence. It just depends, which one is moved on the most, which one has the most confidence. I think that'll be the winner. It's
probably a fight as well that will really show like really where they are at. Like, either of them could have taken probably an easier fight, you know what I mean, and just definitely try to get another win. But it seems like it's going to be a genuine test of where they each are at after, like you say, a couple of losses, a couple of wins, a couple of hard fights for each of them. But we do have another couple of fights on this card, which aren't on BoxRec, but they're on Ace Boxing's Instagram page. Which is the first one you've got lined up there to talk about?
Got Billy Lemov versus Dibs Gillies. Billy Lemov, 6-2-1. Dibs Gillies 0-2. So you look at the records, you automatically kind of lean towards Billy. I've watched both these dudes fight. I've known Billy for a while. Here's a good amateur sort of story for you. We know and knew Billy Lemov. And then he won the state title in 2013, and he came on the trip, and there was 5 of us from the same club, and then there was 6 in a room. So he was the extra. So he was in the room, and we'd all been to a few Aussie titles before. So everyone knows no one wanted to share a room with Joe Goodall. So he got stuff with Joe Goodall. Joe Goodall's the best guy, but he's the messiest. He's just the biggest, sloppiest dude you've ever met. And then after the first night, I said, Billy, how'd you go? Like, it was all good sleeping there with Joe. Did he snore? He goes, nah. He didn't snore, but like halfway through the night, he just fell off the bed. And then I was like, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, like, I was laying there. He fell off the bed, took the lamp with him, made this massive racket, just got back on the bed and went back to sleep. And Billy was sitting there like, is this normal? Like, yeah. That's big Joe Goodall for you. But so I've known Billy for like a long time. He's those 2 losses came to Adrian Rodriguez in a 10-round fight where he got stopped in the 10th, and one of the judges had him up on the scorecards, and he got stopped like right at the end of the 10th. Like, so it was close. The other one was to Joel Camilleri down in Melbourne for the Aussie title. So he stepped up early. Yeah. So he did step up early, and he's improved. Like, the last fight he had against Colby Johnson, that's the best I've ever seen him by far. Before he'd cut down to 69 at light middle, and he just didn't look that durable. His last fight against Colby, he looked so strong at middle, and everything. Colby's a good puncher, and everything he threw just didn't hurt Billy, and Billy walked through it and just sort of banged Colby out of there. That's a pretty impressive win from Billy. Dimps, I've seen him fight twice, once against Nathan Watson and once against Ben Hussein. Ben Hussein, he got stopped against, but it's just like an overwhelming sort of thing of punches. It wasn't like he might have got dropped. I'm not 100% sure, but he was tough. He was having a dig. Against Nathan, it was points. So he's had 2 hard fights, but he's got a really high work rate. He's working with Steve Gago down now, so it might be a closer fight than what we'd imagine.
And Billy Hussein's a very good fighter. Like, there's no, you can't talk shit on a guy for losing to a dude like Billy Hussein. I've seen Dimps Gillies once. That was an MMA fight at Eternal in Auckland last year. He lost to Mike Diamond, and if anyone's watching, Mike Diamond, Blood Diamond, he was just throwing spinning stuff, random kicks. It was a hugely entertaining fight, but he Dimps lost that one, but great fight in Auckland last year. But again, backing the eye test, probably leaning towards Lemov, but you never know. You just never know.
You never know with someone like Dimps because you've got such a high work rate, and that can just spoil people. And like Billy, he's got heaps of heart. Like, he's so mentally tough, but sometimes he gets hit a bit. Like, and he has improved on that. Someone with the high work rate can make that a 50-50 fight. Like, I'm leaning towards Billy in this one because of his last performance. He just looked unreal. But yeah, you can't really write off Dimps.
And what's the last card we've got on this? Last fight we've got on this card.
So we've got Nathan Watson. He's 4-0. 4-0. Versus John Ackey, a.k.a. Jabs Forex, who's 0-10. So you got to kind of lean towards Nathan.
The eye test there probably tells you.
The eye test, yeah. Well, the weird thing two weird things about John Ackey is, one, they call him Jabs Forex I'm not really sure why. Must be his sort of alter ego. But I've watched him fight this dude, Abdul Mayweather from Eastside. And Abdul can really fight. He can punch. He can box. And then that John Ackey just wore his shots. In the last round, come up with a big left hook and boom, dropped Abdul. Abdul got up and finished the fight and won. But I was like, man, like that was a big shot. Like, and he timed it well. And like, I had a look through his box rec. He's been stopped twice, so he's pretty tough because everyone he's fought's good. So he's there to hang in there. He's not just going out there taking the knee. So he's pretty tough. Nathan, he's a mate of mine. He used to train with me at Fortitude Boxing. We did a lot of sparring together. He's from Ireland, so he moved over here a couple of years ago. He had like 40, 50 fights in Ireland. So he's got a pretty good pro style. He's pretty neat. He's still developing as a pro, but he's getting better every single fight. Like, he's with John Bastable now, and John's a good coach. So he's just developing him the right way, and Nathan's come along, so it's hard to go against Nathan. Nathan could probably get the stoppage here too, I reckon.
Yeah, like you were saying about John Ackey, like it sounds similar to the bloke who fought Sonny Bill, whose record I think was something like 4-16. But you look at the guys he's fighting, you look at the way he's losing. He's not going out there and getting knocked out in 45 seconds. Like, he's been in a couple of tough fights,
And Cato, he could have won some of those fights. Like, if you watch those fights, you're like, oh, he should get this, and then they just sort of give it to the other dude. Like, you can never be you can't read too much into these records. You know what I mean? Like, anyone can turn up on their day, especially when you've had 10 pro fights and you're fighting. The thing that people forget about these dudes is that usually the better guy with the better record, they're not getting fights often. The other guy, they're fighting every second weekend, so they're like active. So from their first fight, they might be horrible. To get to their 10th fight, they might have lost all 10, but they've improved every single time, and they're active and they're ring ready. So like, it's like they get in and it's like another day for them, if you know what I mean? Like, I know someone like Joe Ray, he would never really want to win the fights. And then occasionally he'd just like, all right, I'll have a dig today. And then he would just pull it out. Like, he would just, you know what I mean? Like, remember that fight Joe Ray fought Bilal Akaway on Fox, and he just like decided that day he was going to have a dig, and then he got a draw with Bilal Akaway. Like, it's pretty unreal. Like
there's a whole lot of those guys where like they're realistic about what they're in the sport for. You know, like there's heaps of guys that like, man, I want to win a world title, I want to go overseas, make a lot of money. There's dudes like that who are just like, just like fighting. I just love having a scrap.
100%. Yeah, having a
And,
scrap, getting a bit of pace.
Again, those are the guys that you love to watch as well. Because
it is.
They're always,
And stylistically, John Ackey is kind of short and compact, and so is Nathan. So, like, when you get two guys like the same as Adrian Rodriguez and Tyson Bess, it's not like one's trying to box, if you know what I mean. Like, Nathan has got boxing ability, but they're both short and compact. It's not like he's fighting some massive 6'3" dude who's just going to keep him long. It's going to be boring. They're probably going to meet in the middle, and knowing Nathan, he'll probably try and put him away. So, that could be interesting too. It's all the fights are like, I'm looking forward to every single one of them.
Yeah, good card. Another good card from Ace Boxing. It's going to be on Epicenter. If you can't get to the Eatons Hill Hotel, if you're not in Queensland, if like the rest of the country in lockdown, Epicenter is where you'll be able to watch that one.